Another bad edit.
You could see the pain in his eyes. He is not built for dealing with people not liking him.
I mean, I honestly hoped you guys seeing like who I am the last year.
And we're going to get into Iris and Pepe and how the whole thing is supposedly how Pepe is a liar when Iris is the only person on this show that continues to be caught in lies. Well, I do have thoughts on episode 5 of Love Island Beyond the Villa season 2. It was a total clown show, and I don't know where to begin with the clown show, but definitely by the end of the episode, the biggest clown had to be Iris, at least in this episode. Before we get to the whole Christmas party, let me touch upon a couple of these other little things going on with the show. We had Hannah and Clarke taking pictures, Clarke still wanting to maybe live in LA, Clarke and Taylor talking about the possibility of Clarke living in LA more so than back home in Oklahoma with Taylor. Hannah finally said something smart for the first time in 5 episodes when she called it out that Clarke spent all her time with Taylor since the show ended, and now Taylor thinks Clarke's life revolves around him. But I also kind of feel like that's what Clarke wants, and as like a lot of you have pointed out in the comments, Taylor has money. He has that farm in Oklahoma, and with all of that money, I think, Clarke likes being around a guy that has money that gives her stuff all of the time. And so I think on one hand, does Clarke want to try and do her own thing, make her own career? Or does she want to just continue to fall back on Taylor and his money? It seems like it's the latter. And if their relationship is actually, not as bad as it seems, and if Clarke is actually really happy, I just think that Clarke is chill. I think Clarke is really go with the flow. I think this show has been kind of good for Clarke. I mean, I never disliked Clarke. I never thought that she was a villain in the season, actually. It's always been Taylor. I still feel like Taylor is the villain in this relationship. What was most telling about their conversation was Taylor saying, if she is happy, then he is happy. Meanwhile, he did not have a happy look on his face whatsoever. So that relationship, it continues to puzzle me, but I think that is the heart of the matter, that Clarke is fine with that relationship because, Taylor has money and Clarke kind of has it made being with him. At least for right now, she is happy enough. Now, this episode tried to build drama between Austin and Grayson, and I just don't care. I mean, maybe I'll talk a little bit about it at the end, but it's just really hard to care about those two individuals. I didn't care about them on Love Island. Why would I care about them on this show? The big drama, of course, came when Chris invited Pepe to Hannah's little Christmas party that she threw. Amaya couldn't make it because she was in the hospital with abdominal pain, so she was not really a part of this episode. So at least I don't have to drag her in this episode, but if I watch episode 6, probably sometime this weekend, I fear I will have to do it because there will be more drama between her and Bella. So yeah, Pepe arrived at the party, and first thing first, Jeremiah would not shake Pepe's hand. And Jeremiah is such a follower, and I really do feel he's done everything this season because he thought he was in with the cool kids, but it is just a clout clique that they are all a part of. And this whole party was another example where nobody wants to hear Pepe out. Nobody wants to hear Pepe's side of the story. And it's gross because it really is because of the clout clique. And Jeremiah is starting to see the error of his ways because he's been panicking on social media that he chose wrong. Because everything Jeremiah does is to just be in with the cool kids and hopefully get loved on the outside. But that's not happening with this season. And of course, he's blaming the edit. He's saying that he and Pepe had a whole conversation that didn't make the edit. So he didn't get to say on the show why he actually has a problem with Pepe. But he did say in confessional that the reason he has a problem with Pepe is because Pepe just continues to hurt Iris. And so Jeremiah just comes off as a person that only wants to hear one side of the story. And we're going to get into Iris and Pepe and how the whole thing is supposedly how Pepe is a liar when Iris is the only person on this show that continues to be caught in lies. He did make a post saying, "They cut out my scene with Pepe and my explanation further of why we are not friends after. Everyone has made up their mind already, so no point in making a video. It's been a year since the show and not one cast member has spoke ill about my character or what type of person I've been." Well, of course they're not going to say that, Jeremiah, if you are just a follower for all of these people. And furthermore, he said in confessional that he's mad at Pepe just because of Iris and TJ, and I think it's because Jeremiah thought that the fans were going to side with Iris and TJ for whatever reason, and that's why Jeremiah made the decisions he made. He then talked in a live. Let's watch it.
I'm not friends with Pepe is because of other people. But me and Pepe have a conversation on the show that gets cut out about why we're not friends. He has lied to me and my hometown friends multiple times. That is why I choose to not be friends with Pepe. There's no beef. I don't have any ill intent. That is why we talk about it on the show. They do not air it. And they only air me saying TJ and Iris, of course, on purpose. Another bad edit.
Jeremiah is saying it's because Pepe is a liar, but he's just so good friends with Iris, who is the biggest liar on the show.
And that's why. That's why. And if you want to call me a liar, look at my track record, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to beg you to believe me. But that's just for my supporters. I know I'm not going to change the haters' mind. That is just for my supporters, in case you were curious. I honestly hoped you guys seeing like who I am the last year would let you know not to just believe it, but
Jeremiah is bothered. This message was just for his haters. You could see the pain in his eyes. He is not built for dealing with people not liking him. That is why he is a follower, and that is why he makes the decisions he makes on this show, on social media, like when he unfollowed Bella, saw the reaction to it, followed Bella again. That is Jeremiah's MO with this whole show. Pepe brought up good points with Jeremiah not shaking his hand on the episode, saying it feels like he has to kiss their asses. And that's what clout cliques do. You gotta kiss their asses, and Pepe was not willing to do it. Charlie was not willing to do it last week. That's what I like to see. That's why these kinds of people on these reality shows resonate with the audience more than the clout cliques. Hannah, meanwhile, was talking shit about Pepe in the back, saying that Pepe is chopped and an unk. And I'm just like, why are we calling a 27-year-old an unk? It's just so cringe. These young people, these young white people that try and use slang terms and use them so broadly and so badly. Hannah continues to be cringe on this show. And Hannah didn't think Pepe was chopped in the house. She was chopping it up with him in bed the whole time. Because Hannah is a big part of why there is so much blowback against her and Iris for when she got in Pepe's face early on in the early episodes of this season. And then when she said last week that Iris was terrified of Pepe, which is a huge accusation to make, I still contend that that was Hannah screwing up and saying that Iris was terrified that Pepe was going to tell the world the truth, that Iris and TJ really did have a cheating scandal, which is what I guess TJ and Iris, specifically Iris, are so upset about with Pepe that he went on a podcast saying that Iris had a cheating scandal, even though Iris continues to this very day go on podcasts talking shit about Pepe. TJ tried to be big and bad, get in Pepe's face, but he couldn't do it alone. Iris and Hannah followed him over, even though Pepe wanted to talk one-on-one. Iris wasn't letting it happen, and I feel like Iris wasn't letting it happen because Iris didn't want to be caught in lies. There was some text allegedly from Pepe on TJ's phone talking about how it was saying something to Iris, and you went to suck TJ's dick without telling me at night, and we're there for hours. I don't know how this was evidence that specifically hurt Pepe, because TJ is saying that Pepe was saying that TJ told Pepe that he and Iris hooked up. Pepe said, no, that's not what I was saying. I was saying I heard all of these rumors from that night when Iris went straight from the airport to see TJ. Pepe wanted Iris to pull up the actual texts so that they can see the text on her phone, she had the excuse that her phone was dead, although there are photos from the episode that Iris's phone was not dead. And so that is Iris caught in another lie. And that is why I say, because last week she was caught in a lie by Charlie too. Charlie said that Iris was a part of talking shit with Pepe about TJ and his cringe TikToks. And Iris played it off like it was just Pepe doing it. Charlie called her out in the lie. Iris then admitted to it, saying that's not the case. This is 2 times now that on camera, Iris has been caught in lies. But the whole thing is that Pepe is the big liar. Who is the real big liar, though? And that is why the fandom feels the way they do. I saw some stupid posts on social media talking about people don't really support Pepe. His fandom isn't growing on social media. But that's not the point. I don't think that people are watching this show and becoming a stan of Pepe. I think people are watching this show objectively and seeing a group of people make all these wild accusations, villainize Pepe so much with no proof. All of this hearsay, and then at that same time, they make Pepe out to be this huge liar, and then Iris has been caught on camera now multiple times this season actually being the liar. Plus the whole thing about how Iris is upset that Pepe goes on podcasts and talks about her when she does the exact same thing. It's blowing my mind that the people on this show are so stupid, but it really shouldn't, because we all saw how season 7 actually was. The other thing that happened during these scenes is that Pepe kept trying to read his texts to Iris and from Iris, and Iris kept cutting him off, not wanting to hear it, then saying she was going to leave the conversation, then went and did her victim tears just like Hannah did last week. So once again, Iris not wanting to hear Pepe's side of the story, not wanting to hear Pepe say the texts on camera. And so then TJ acted like he didn't accept Pepe's apology. Pepe did apologize to TJ. Iris was saying that's all that they wanted, was an apology from Pepe. That's what Pepe did. Then they didn't accept his apology, and they just want to further villainize him. So to me, this whole storyline was set up so that TJ and Iris don't look bad, like they didn't cheat on Pepe. Pepe is saying that while Iris was talking about going to see TJ, he never was told that it was going to be that night and that Iris was going to go straight from the airport over there, that Iris didn't realize that TMZ was going to catch on to it and there was going to be so much blowback. And I believe Pepe. Because Iris, it's semantics, really. Iris is saying, you knew I was going to meet TJ. But Pepe is saying he didn't know specifically that night. These were 2 people that went on Love Island. At the end, they were just friends, but they tried to pretend they were going from friends to lovers. It was a big old scam. They get off the show. They were never a real relationship. But for some reason, Iris and TJ have decided to villainize Pepe so much. But now they look like the villains because they're making themselves look guiltier. It's just so stupid. It was a total clown show in this episode. From Jeremiah to Iris to TJ to Hannah, all clowns in my opinion. That's really all I have to say. I know Grayson and Austin had their meetup. It turned very emotional because I guess they've been good friends, but they've hooked up a couple of times. Bella told Grayson that Austin was also with her friend Raven from Oahu Shores, who I talked about in a video over the weekend about Amaya and Raven getting into it on social media over Bella, so they do seem to be friends. But like... I am not invested in a potential Grayson and Austin relationship. I don't understand how anyone really thinks they're going to have some serious relationship with Austin, who admits to being a hoe. Like, just more of a clown show, really, is all I felt about this whole episode. I will try and review episode 6 over the weekend. It doesn't seem like there's going to be too much drama, though, so I don't know if I will have a lot to say. But if Amaya continues to be as ridiculous with Bella as I feel like she's going to, and if Amaya is going to continue to be a follower with no logic whatsoever and be a huge hypocrite, well, I'm sure I'll have some shit to talk about Amaya again after watching that episode.